Okay, let's go. Who are you?
Okay,
let's
do a legitimate intro. Welcome to episode 62 of Discourse in Magic, the Real Housewives of Toronto Magicians, is what we're going to officially call it. Even though none of you are housewives,
let alone
but
the house variety.
we thought it would be a fun idea. We're not scraping the barrel for ideas at all. This is totally one that we've been thinking of for a very long time. But it is. We thought it'd be fun for a while to chat with some magic girlfriends.
We wanted to wait and interview our own girlfriends, but that's not happening.
It's not happening
so we had to get our friends'
girlfriends. For the sake of the podcast, yeah, we would reach out to anybody who knows anything about dating magicians. So let's just go very quickly, introduce who you are, I guess who your magician is, and then a little bit about you, because it's not all about them, it's about you. And we can start on that.
We can start with me. Hi, my name's Natasha. I'm Ben Train's girlfriend. About me, oh, there's so much.
There's so much. Where do I start?
I work in the non-profit sector. I like to read Ben's magic books when he's sleeping. That's my favorite pastime.
That's awesome.
No,
we also have a special guest, which is a dog.
Yeah. Also, a magician's
The
girlfriend.
real doggo of magic. I'm Karleena, and often seen with Mark Correia. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a terrible magician, and I am an actor. That's it.
That's good.
That's good. All right, we're getting there. Okay, this is gonna take forever. Okay.
So I'm Haley, and Scott Hammell often refers to me as his roommate, which is not very charming anymore. Yeah, I'm a couple weeks away from graduating from nursing school, so there's that.
Amazing. I think it's really, really fun because
Thank you guys for tuning in to this week on
on wine with a ladies' night out. Obviously, I think it's funny that you're not housewives. You're all very accomplished individuals yourselves.
It's 2017.
That's great. It's 2017.
But it's not a women's rights thing. It's like the economy sucks is the point I was trying to make. But anyway,
I thought we would dive in to talk about as crazy as this is, but you know, sort of what it's like to live with and work with an artist. You know, this is like magic as an art form. Usually shows up when people are talking about all of the preppy parts of it, the high end. Oh, it's an art form because of the way it affects people and the way. But really, I just want to talk about it being an art form in the way that it consumes, your significant other and how that affects your life and sort of like what, I mean, do you take part in it? Do you sort of let them do their own thing? So we'll sort of go one at a time, but feel free to interject and add because hopefully you guys are going to be like, yeah, I experienced that too. I mean, we'll see. So we'll start with Natasha because she keeps being like, she's nodding her head like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Our house is a mess. I think if I counted every die and playing card that I found in the apartment, I would be like, start my own magic store. I reckon I could just start selling Ben's things without him knowing because there is so much of it. We have an entire wardrobe just for Ben's magic. So yeah, I understand the consuming thing, but I definitely think it's really fun. There's always something new. There's always a new trick that Ben wants to show me or something he wants to get my advice on or like see how it like fits in to a show, and I definitely enjoy that side of it, getting stuck into that sort of stuff.
Again, thank you guys for listening. And, that's cool. I've actually never dated someone who appreciates magic enough to keep watching my new stuff. So that's exciting knowing that people like you exist, I guess. Because most people are like, fuck you, stop showing me the same trick, slightly different. Anyway.
No, do you know, I find it so fun, but I always need to know how it's done. And if I don't know, I can't sleep. And I just start like prodding him. I'm like, was it like this? He's like, I'm not telling you. And I'm like, just one more time until eventually he cracks.
Do you experience any stress of working with an artist or living with an artist?
I find that we both play off of each other a lot, like comedy-wise and like writing-wise and stuff like that. So it's quite helpful on that level. But as far as like magic goes, hanging out here with you and with Mark are like my best nights. And it's like something that I didn't.
It's clearly not Mark, so I think because you're with Mark.
Mark was the last
Oh,
person.
Thank you, really. Thank you.
It's all great. Yeah, and it's like something I didn't know was like missing in my life. That part of like watching you guys try to build something, and I can't help at all because I don't know what the fuck comes next, or sorry, just swear, or like what
you
comes
can totally
next.
swear.
I can
Totally swear.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, or I'll be like, oh, what about this? But, I mean, it's obviously, like, the dumbest idea ever, but, I love watching you guys build, like, have an idea or a joke and, like, build off of it. It's so fun, and people lose that sense of play so quickly, so early in their life, that it's just really fun to be around a bunch of people who actually just, like, play for a living, and it's... I know it's stressful sometimes, whatever, you're on stage or you're trying to create like Toronto Magic Company and like all these things are very stressful, but like at the same time, like
we do magic tricks for a
You do
living.
magic
It's
tricks,
fucking
and
cool. It's
I'm
cool as
in your
shit,
basement
yeah.
apartment and I start laughing hysterically.
Mark
I
and
have
I
to be
were
removed.
joking about it the other night. We were just sitting here, we were talking, and it's funny to live with a magician, right? Because it's funny, like both of us totally pay our bills with magic. And we just over cooking some dinner, we both sort of started laughing. We got into like a fit of laughter about how we're magicians and this is what we do.
Yeah.
And card tricks and these tricks, like these silly jokes and tricks is what we do. So it's really funny to have the first time we're having anybody on the podcast who's not a magician, you know, to be like, remember guys, this is really fun. This is really funny and fun and cool that you guys are doing this. So I agree, that's really fun. And Hanley, what's it like?
Well, back to Natasha's point about stuff just consuming. We live in a 2-floor unit and we don't have a single closet in our entire home. And so there's just stuff everywhere. When you first walk in, there's like a bucket of handcuffs. And so you walk in and you're really not sure what kind of house you're getting into. There's like a giant milk can and then bags of packing peanuts. But yeah, no, I think it's really great, and it's nice to kind of have a built-in community. I mean, everyone has their group of friends, but then to also be part of the magic community is kind of, yeah, this built-in community that, I don't know, I as a girlfriend have fit into hopefully pretty well. And it's also nice, you know, it can be intimidating introducing the person that you love and that you're with to other people, but knowing that there's never going to be a lull in conversation because you can just be like, hey, you should show them that card trick.
Remember, you're a half clown, right?
So yeah, it's just that built-in entertainment, which is...
That's awesome, and that's a really good point, and I think it's one of the reasons why we're really lucky in Toronto, because sort of this, to toot my own horn of this Toronto Magic Company thing, where now there's shows. That's where people are mingling, is there's shows. So it's now a place you can actually take your girlfriend, right? When it was conventions and magic stores and things like that, I mean, you don't take your girlfriend, you can, but it's just to like show her off and then leave because you're not hanging out.
You're like, I ain't single. I ain't single.
Yeah, I ain't single anymore. I'm out. I don't spend time in the magic store anymore. I'm out later. So it's really fun now because there actually is sort of what you're talking about, this community where it's an environment that you'd want to be a part of, you know, where it's not just like magicians. I mean, I'm sure you've all been a part of like sitting at a table where magicians are
I feel like you're kind of
shuffling
holding your
cards.
tongue a little bit.
I think like...
Because I think, sorry, I know we're interviewing you, but I feel like if I wasn't a magician, there is like dozens of magicians that I would love to meet and be a part of and have a part of my life, and then there's like dozens and dozens of magicians that I'd be like, why the fuck are you talking to this person? Like, stay away from me, you weirdo. So like,
It
there's
definitely
kind of
attracts a series of weirdoms.
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know that I could bring a girlfriend to a convention, but I could bring a girlfriend to
I
a
don't
party.
know, like,
You know what I mean?
I think it is a very male-oriented industry.
Yes.
Like that's one thing that's very clear. But
Yeah.
I think definitely like with TMC and all these events, I think it's becoming way more inclusive, and I think it's like embracing the idea of different people and exposing magic to new people. Because I think before even meeting Ben, I'd watched a few magic clips on like TV, like Britain's Got Talent and all of these other things, but it was never anything where I was like, okay, this is what I want my life to revolve around.
That was
right?
a question I was going to bring up, which is, what is your experience with magic before being with a magician? Because it's almost this funny thing where magic now obviously plays a huge part in your lives, and that's funny because you didn't grow into loving magic like we did, right? So you just at one day it was like, this is a thing now. Like, I study a lot of books that all do card tricks, and like this is just what it's about right now. So sort of, what did you have any experience with magic before? Did you ever? I'm wondering, were you for magic or against magic before you met a magician?
Do you know what? When I was younger, I remember when I was about like 8 or something
That was me.
I was
I'm
so
sorry.
I was like,
So sorry, everybody.
I'm just drawing.
is it that boring? When I was about 8, I remember this TV show being on, and it was like one of these really like it had such a dark setting, and it was a magician and his like assistant, and it just consisted of like no wording. It was just him like cutting her up, putting her into boxes, and I remember being so like confused at like how he'd do all these tricks and like intrigue. But I remember growing up and then thinking, wow, that show was fucking weird. So as soon as I met Ben, he was like, I'm a magician. I was like, oh.
Full time?
What
What do you do for actual work?
What kind of magician? Because you can have so many different types of magic.
That's already a really informed question to ask.
Yeah.
I don't think I did ask. I was just like, oh.
You know that now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I grew up in the forest. So
My mother was a bear. What do you mean?
I grew up in a cave. It was a cave. There were no magicians in Tweed, so no exposure.
But you did have internet.
I had dial-up.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm old too. So we had dial-up. I had ICQ. We didn't. It was MSN Messenger. We had no magicians still. But
My childhood had no magic in it.
No, there was no. It was, we were busy getting the cows out of the garden a great deal of the time. And then my dad would set the fence on fire accidentally. But anyway, that's like the only. There was nothing. Literally, like nothing. It wasn't.
So when you met Mark, you thought magic was real.
Whoa!
That's what you're saying.
Like,
Was that your first
That was your,
exposure?
he was your first ever magician. And
Yeah,
you
it
were
was
like, holy
like,
fuck, you were the
he's
second
this
coming.
sexy demon.
Yeah.
This is fucking the best.
He's legitimately the devil,
He
like
is-
trying to seduce me magically and aesthetically.
Like, everything fit. Everything was great. I was like, I don't care if he's a demon. It's fine. No, but, no exposure to magic. I had no idea. He was just like, I'm a magician. I was just like, okay. And I don't know. It was fun to learn. Because I think I was honestly just so excited to meet someone who was so passionate about something.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting to meet everybody else who is just as passionate. And I think like if you want to really get like stereotypical or whatever
You know
about
me,
this,
sure.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
you say whatever you want.
Girls might be, magic, or I don't know. People be like, oh, girls don't like magicians, or I tell girls on Tinder I'm a magician, and they stop talking. I don't know. But like, I think that
What the fuck are you talking about?
I think I heard you say that once.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Girls on that, I forget who I heard it from.
It was like me. It was
like
me.
You don't have to be.
Okay.
Okay, alright, we have a nerdy fucking profession / hobby / passion.
Right, but
Oh, is that what you're saying? Are you saying like
You're saying that we're fucking losers and we
that's
can't get
magicians.
lectures
No,
to do
I'm
magic?
saying
Is the stereotype.
I'm saying the stereotype with girls being like magic's not cool. Those girls are not cool.
Yeah.
Like those girls suck, and those girls.
thank
are
you so
Can you
much.
say that one more time, just really clearly?
really
I want to use it for my
Because
website.
if you're like girls, girls who don't like magic are fucking bitches.
Nice, that's right. Ladies, that's my ringtone. That's my new ringtone. Girls that don't like magic are fucking bitches. Run the trap.
It's
Man.
if anybody is so into something, like to me, if somebody's so into something and they're so excited to bring you to like newest trick, or they're so excited to like show you something new or share with you, I don't care what it is. There's nothing better than that, and I don't care what it is, but you're passionate about something, you care about something, and you're always trying to get better and be better, and that's
I agree.
really.
I mean, I think there's nothing more attractive than passion,
Right,
no matter
exactly.
what it is.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny because not only are the three of you dating magicians, but you're also dating professional magicians and passionate magicians, you know, which is really, I don't want to say unique, also really unique doesn't make any sense, but like, it's unique because there's often magicians who are like, they do magic sometimes, but they also have a full-time job where they do other things and they don't really care. Or also...
They work at the magic store. Just kidding. I don't know. Is that a thing?
About what?
If you like, never mind.
I didn't hear what you said.
If you work at the magic store, like I'm a magician, but you work at the magic store.
Well, that's another example. You know, someone might work at a magic store who's not performing. I mean, not even necessarily in Toronto, but like someone could work in a magic store who's not performing, but that's the kick that they get out of magic. And I'm sure they are passionate about magic, but maybe in a different way.
Right.
But it's cool to see. I mean, you're with magicians who are passionate.
Paying the rent with magic.
Right, which is like, there's something about that which is a certain
money.
number of passion. Exactly, with funny money. Haley, do you have any background with magic before dating a magician?
Is this the part in the show where we tell everyone how we met?
Oh my god, this is a crazy story. I don't know that I've ever told this on a podcast, but this is one of the most incredible
You
stories
most
ever.
definitely have.
I must.
We are very,
The
like...
intro
We're
is
really
like a
deep.
story.
Like, the problem is, I don't know.
Far
I haven't
into this
scrubbed
thing.
into the episode.
Yeah.
We're 62 episodes in, so I must
We've
have
actually
told
only
it.
released 4 and then
Oh my
recycled
God.
them throughout.
So,
How about I start and then you can finish?
absolutely, yeah.
Well, to answer your question first, I have a background with magic. I guess the fire department in Mississauga used to put on a magic show every year that my dad would take me to as a kid. So that was cool.
That's cool.
But for whatever reason, I just kept like attracting magician friends into my life. So I, would go through these periods of my life where I was really involved in the Toronto magic scene, and then those friends would, we would drift apart, and then somebody else would come into my life. And Jonah and I went to Queens together, and we all joked that we were on the doctor's note floor because we all got doctor's notes to have single rooms with our own bathrooms, which was great in theory, but then you get there on the first day and it's so isolating because
nobody has to leave their room to go to the
yeah,
washroom.
normally you'd have a roommate, and then together you two, because of proximity, would become friends, and then
If you lived on our
you'd be a
floor,
team.
you're either full of shit or full of shit. You either needed your own washroom because you were shitting all the time, or you told the doctor that you were shitting all the time, but that was just because you wanted your own washroom.
You just wanted to be a hermit.
Well, you just wanted to not be like on a floor with like, it's like, well,
Did you
there's
have to
2
clean your
showers
washroom?
for. No, there was someone.
Because she's
who
like, yes,
came
he's like,
once
no.
a-
Yeah, she's like, I cleaned it every other day.
There was someone who came
Whoa.
once every 2
Yeah.
weeks. No, there was someone who came once every 2
Jonah's
weeks.
like, somebody
to
did
clean all the
it.
washroom.
No, they
The
didn't.
reason I remember is because her name
Never
was
Oh,
Karen,
Sharon is Sharon.
and we
is
put up
Sharon,
a
Sharon,
sign
Sharon,
that said
Sharon.
Sharon is Karen, and sharing is caring, and sharing is Karen, and Karen is sharing.
bet she
And she
loved
really
you.
liked that. She really liked that. One day she was cleaning my room. The next day I saw her, she was like, "Can I buy that Keurig machine off of you?" I'm like, "It's not for sale." Like, is this what happens when you're employed by a building to clean rooms? You shop around.
That's so interesting
I
theory
know.
though. You're like,
Fuck.
I like that.
Be like, you're gonna move home soon,
Holy
right?
fuck.
You look like a coffee drinker.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Anyways, get back.
Yes, so I'm sitting in my room on the first day, and I'm not a shy person, but it's very intimidating to like peek your head into somebody else's door. And so I'm sitting there like trying to work up the nerve, and I hear, Jonah's room was right across from mine, and I hear him talking about mnemonica. And I'm like, wait a second, I know what this is, and this is my chance. So I like walk over and peek my head in, and I ask him if he's talking about mnemonica.
So I'm sitting. So on my perspective, I've set up my room. I finally, for the first time, set up my room. I don't know. I'm not sure what you meant about. Yeah, I'm not sure what you meant about me talking. So I wasn't talking to myself, but maybe I was. I
You
don't
were
know.
talking to Shira.
Oh, there you go. I was talking to Shira, and I'm holding mnemonica, and she's like, "Oh, what are you?" Shira's on my phone. She's like, "What are you reading?" I'm telling her, I'm explaining to her what, like, "Oh, it's a book. It's like, it's a magic book. A little bit about what I do." And then Haley pokes her head in, and she goes, and let me just like, first day at Queens, I'm nervous to know anyone. Like, a beautiful girl pokes her head in my room and goes, "Are you talking about mnemonica?" And I'm like, I'm book in my hand. I'm just like,
Who said that?
I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what floor did they put me on? Like, just beautiful women that know about magic walking into my room. Like, holy fuck, I've been away from home for like 6 minutes. This is incredible.
You're actually
College
dead
is
and you're in
amazing.
heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Like, am I dead? Is this heaven?
Beautiful ghost.
What is happening? And it was I just absolutely couldn't believe it. So that was how we met, and then we were friends at Queens, and that was many years before. And then, I guess a couple years ago, it was really funny. You were like, "Guess who I'm dating?" I was like, "I have no idea." You're like, "Scott Hammell." I couldn't believe it. And then you were like, "Guess how we met?" I was like, "I don't know. How did you and Scott Hammell meet?" So I was like, I don't know. You were both helping an abandoned deer on the side of the road nurse back to health. And then you were like, no. Instead, we met at, where was it? Where did you guys meet?
In Kenya.
Right, in Kenya. So I was like, right on the nose there. That's right. You and Scott met in Kenya. What was it? He was speaking at a school that you were.
He was working for the organization that I was with, doing magic. So he would come around to all the camps and do magic.
Awesome. So that's really cool, and it's also awesome that that you're each dating different types of magicians. You know, like Scott is for lack of a better word, like professional speaker. Who's doing the same his act. His speaking act. Are you giving the dog whine?
Are you trying to make her tired?
No.
Anyway, so Scott speaks. He's been doing his act for many years, and he's a stunt magician, which is crazy, and something we'll get to in a sec. How you feel about
That's exactly. Yeah, it's like, how do you sit there and watch him prepare to shoot himself in the chest? But anyway, we'll get there.
Mark is more of a comedy magician, so less of a.
He still does some shit danger things.
Of course, and he also does another stunt, a pretty big stunt.
That's not, human blockhead's not dangerous, it's just gross.
It's just frightening.
Just fucking disgusting.
And then Ben is
but the light bulb thing's bad and the cups are bad.
The light bulb thing, I don't like when he eats glass.
Clearly.
That's upsetting.
And then Ben is like me, safety first, more like a scholar who does card tricks.
You're about Jewish magicians, that's what you're trying to say. I don't want to strain myself when there's lights in my eyes. I don't know.
Like for fun?
Yeah, just casually walk in and
Right, in his Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Can't believe he's eating glass for fun. Weird. Anyways, it's fun that there's sort of a scholar magician, sort of entrepreneur right now, a comedian magician, and a speaker stunt artist magician. I guess very quickly, have you been with Scott while he's done a major stunt, a death-defying stunt?
No.
Because I know that he sort of spaces those out pretty.
Yeah, and I've known Scott we've known each other I guess for about 8 years now. So I've known him while he's been doing those, but we haven't actually been dating. However, if we have talked about a couple of things and talked about ideas, and I think a lot of people look at what Scott does and thinks that he's an adrenaline junkie. He's a skydiver. He, dangles upside down.
What is happening? Okay, pause. There's some wine party going on. No, go ahead. What? No, I realized everyone was pouring wine, so I figured.
Would you like another?
We're listening.
Is that for you?
All ears, bucko.
So then
whose
what?
is this? Do you want more red?
I'll have some more wine.
So you and Scott know each other 8 years.
I finished
Was
the
that
white.
from right here?
What? Yeah.
That's mine.
You
I'll
want?
have some more red, please.
Yeah, all right.
The
Then
wine
what?
The wine is great.
Because I'm.
Well,
You're
wine
just
break.
edit
Wine
this
break.
part
Wine
out,
break.
right?
Yeah, we'll either edit it out or not.
No. This is staying in.
Wine break. Well, edit it
This
out
is
of the
what the people
audio, but
wanna
we'll
see.
keep it in the video.
Cheers.
I should turn myself so that they can.
See you a little bit.
I just keep looking at you guys because you're here. I don't know. Is that wrong? Is that
I'm
so
pouring
bad?
this wine wrong.
Yeah,
and I
that's
want everyone
plenty.
to know
I'm
that.
so sorry, I didn't mean
What?
it for my
Oh, I didn't mean
point.
quantity-wise, I
What
just
you were
meant
saying. I was like,
sloshing. I understand that I'm bruising it. I don't care.
Should I?
You whispered and everything, and Jonah just easily distracted. It's not her
Yeah.
fault.
No, but
Wait a
so
second.
first Tyler picked up a wine and went, oh.
Yeah, no, I did a little show.
like this, and then
like
you're
cracked
pouring,
it.
you're like, you drew it like, oh, like who's what? So Tyler's like presenting wine. No, I'm just sitting here talking to Haley. I'm
I'm
like, okay,
cutting cheese.
let's. Yeah. Anyone want some cheese? We have crackers.
Charcuterie board all this
It's
stuff.
offering.
I'm a food
We literally have a
magician.
marbled cheese.
I only do
It's
food
all yours.
trips.
Actually, I was talking to the neighbors upstairs. I bumped into them outside, and we were chatting, and she's like, I was telling her about Mark. She's like, what does Mark do? He does a show. She's like, what's his like piece de resistance? I was like, well, I don't know. Recently, he's been turning an egg into a rotisserie chicken, and she goes, oh. And I'm like, you got strangely excited about that. Do you have any experience with eggs turning into rotisserie chickens? Like, what's going on? And she's like, I love rotisserie chicken. I'm like, what? She's like, I love rotisserie chicken. And she's like, I literally have a half rotisserie chicken in the fridge upstairs. And I was like, you realize that it's not real magic though, right? Like, you're not going to show up at 9 with like a bunch of eggs being like, I want rotisserie chicken.
And that's like not the point of the story.
I just couldn't believe that she was like, you mentioned my favorite food. Like, fuck.
Which is a weird food to
Man.
have as your favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like especially like store-bought rotisserie chicken.
I felt really bad that the only vegan in the room clapped at the rotisserie chicken story while you guys were like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Rotisserie chicken.
Anyways, back to stunts. We're talking about how you feel about.
Yes. So Scott is an adrenaline junkie, and you would think that he was because he, skydives.
Dog,
and
no, don't
So
fall
that-
near the mic.
Come on.
Only because they'll hear it.
Still on the dog.
and dangles 7,200 feet upside down in chains and a straitjacket. But he's not, and so I know that there's always a huge element of safety in anything that he plans. I mean, he doesn't have a death wish, he's not suicidal, and so I know that if he's comfortable doing it, that I can be comfortable doing it with him doing it as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a couple weeks away from becoming a licensed nurse, and watching Scott dislocate his shoulders to get out of a straitjacket and then seeing like the tears and the bruises on his arms, that sometimes is a little bit concerning.
Yeah. I mean, I myself don't do stunts because it's horrifying, but I could only imagine painfully watching somebody do things, like.
Does it hurt you from a partner standpoint where you're like, I don't like watching the person I love and care about hurt himself? Or is it more like, I know that's really bad for you, I'm a nurse, you're not supposed to dislocate your shoulders? Like,
I
or is
think
it
it's
frustrating in both ways?
It's both. Yeah, it's both.
Um,
Because if it's just someone random, then
Yeah.
I'm not too invested, but knowing what it does to your body and it being someone that I love is...
Before I ask about your experience with Mark, I do want to just tell the funniest story ever, which is that one night I get a weird knock on my door, a sort of like a draggy type knock. I'm like, I wonder what the fuck this is. So I open up the door. I open up the door, and it's Karleena in the straitjacket, in Mark's straitjacket, just going like, fuck. Like with this look of like, I've been stuck in a straitjacket on her face. just like, she's just looking at me stuck in a straitjacket. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And Mark's like, I don't know. She asked to be put in a straitjacket. Like, I have no idea. And then I watched her right here in the kitchen not get out of the straitjacket. Tried and not get out of the straitjacket. Very hard. She actually got to this part, and then she was in a lot of pain.
Matilda, zip it, please.
Is your tail exciting? No.
She got to having her arm over her shoulder, and then she was in a lot of pain. And that was the first time I have ever seen, that was the first time I had ever seen somebody not get out of a straitjacket. Every time I've ever seen a magician get in a straitjacket, they got right out of it. So, all this to say, it's funny that you're like, I challenge that this is that difficult. Screw you, you were in this for 2 weeks? Fuck that, I'll try it tonight. So, good enough that you're a part of it. But how do you feel, I mean, watching Mark do all the different things he does? He does a little bit of danger, but also, I mean, mostly like sort of comedy and fun stuff like that. So what's that like watching that happen?
When he eats glass, I don't like that, but I've been reassured, like, it's totally digestible. But I had a woman one time tell me that her ex-husband kept accusing her of putting glass in his food, so I was like, listen, like, I'm pretty
It's totally
sure,
digestible.
like, either you're lying or, like, she knows something I don't. But anyway, so he's like, no, like, Matilda, just...
Thirsty.
She is a doggo of magic. As well.
Nice.
A house doggo of magic.
We're gonna do an interview with you.
I don't like when he eats glass. Human blockhead. Like, I do get worried when a random member of the audience, she doesn't like it either, when he says, pull it out really slow, one day someone's gonna pull it really fast and it's gonna make me crazy. Like, I'm gonna flip.
Oh my god.
Also, to comfort you now, if they do pull it fast, it'll be uncomfortable not being
Okay.
nervous.
I have watched his mother watch him, and when I watched his mom watch him, I was like, oh, I can see that she's very uncomfortable. But the straitjacket thing actually, like.
Well, now you have experience with it.
Not only that, but I was like, I'm very competitive by nature, and I'm an athlete, and I was like, I usually would be like, give me that. And then I would, like, do it until I beat it, or until I won, or whatever. So it was like, I can, and both my shoulders dislocate because they're ruined. So I'd be like, I can do this. But when he put it on me, I was like...
It was horrifying. I can see the look on your face. It was
you
horrifying.
go through very quickly.
It's scary.
Through
It's
stages
really
where
scary.
you're like, I'm like, okay, like, just let me, like, just a minute. And then all of a sudden I'm like your brain is like, nope.
Yeah.
And then you try to escape, and then you're claustrophobic, and you quickly go through those things, and I was upset. And then that's when I was like, okay, so do you have to thrash yourself around? And he's like, yeah, so I started thrashing, and then I was like banging my arm on the table. And he's like, now you have to get your arm. Yeah, you have to get through your head. Your head. I'm like, through here? Like, that sucked. And then it was actual pain. And that, now when I watch him do that, I can feel the stress.
It's almost
feel the stress.
It's almost the opposite of learning.
Tilda.
It's almost the opposite of learning the secret to a magician's trick. Literally trying out a magician's trick and realizing that you two cannot do it because it's so damn difficult.
Yeah.
That's just something I wanted to ask you. Have you tried human blockhead before, Jonah?
Of course not. Why would I try
What
am I out of my mind? I do card tricks.
Yeah.
Have you tried
My
carving
rule
mouth?
is no animals, no danger.
People ask me all the time. They're like, "What's it? So does he have like doves?" And I'm like, "No."
Thankfully, no.
Like,
You don't understand what it's
rabbits. I'm like,
I'm a vegan magician that owns 2 bunnies. So like people every day, they're like, I have an idea for you with your bunnies. And I'm like, fuck off. I don't have them because I do magic. I have them and do magic. Like they're totally separate.
And Tasha, I mean, Ben doesn't directly risk his life, which is probably nice that he does card tricks. But I mean, what do you feel about it? What do you feel about somebody doing?
If Ben was like, I'm gonna swallow a razor blade on stage.
No, I don't mean. What do you feel about Ben doing dangerous things? But I mean, what do you feel about him doing something that is sort of what we were joking about earlier, but made up. I mean, it's magic. You know, it's sort of like, you know, just as much as the magician has to be like, I'm a magician. Someone has to be like, oh, what does your boyfriend do? Is he a pilot? Is he a doctor? He looks smart. Is he a lawyer? No, he does magic.
I think like there are a couple of times where I told people like, oh, Ben's a magician. They'd be like, oh yeah, like, but what does he really do? And I'm like, no, he's a magician. And I think like I've gone through these stages of like, I mean, I always felt good about the fact that he was a magician, but now I'm like, actually it's something I'm really proud of. Like when I see him get on stage and I see, yeah, I know it's magic and I know a lot of it is trickery, I know a lot of it's sleight of hand, there's a lot of thoughtful like processes that make this magic so incredible. But when I see the faces of the audience members and the people that are engaging in that magic and like, so it might not be real, but actually to them in that moment it's real.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing for me. And like when I watch that, I just feel so proud of that, because if you can do that and you can have that effect on people, then to me that is magic.
So I have an interesting question, which is that a lot of times, you know, magic is, I'm trying to think of one of the best ways to say it so that I can think of it, but magic is so lucrative and demanding that often the spouses and the girlfriends of magicians have a major role in the success of what they do. And right now, as I'm saying this, I'm watching all three of you like literally nod and be like, I have a major role in the success of the person that I'm. So I think that that's really interesting, and it's funny because like magicians are very me. They do everything themselves, and often like having someone in their life is the first time that someone's like, did you remember to do this? Like, let me do this for you. Like, did you do this as well? Like, congrats on this thing. You know, like, I mean, all these different things that we sort of take ownership on ourselves. You know, as magicians, I mean, a lot of us didn't realize that we would be full-time magicians. So what that often means for ourselves is that we do everything. We think we can do everything, and we like answer the emails, we also do the show, we also write the show, we also direct the show, we also, you know, we do all these different things, we message clients, we write an invoice, we do. So how much or how little of a role do you have in your magician's life?
I feel like you run Ben. Just not
It's
because I
really
know
funny.
you, but because I know Ben.
Ben
and I were so similar.
Ben and I were
like,
talking today, and we were talking about something, and I said like, I was comparing Discourse and Magic to Toronto Magic Company. I was like, well, it's kind of nice with Toronto Magic Company because I have a boss. It's kind of like, you're my boss. It's very nice. I've never really had a boss. And he goes, and I have a boss too. And I was like, right.
That's the thing, I think, because you're working with, well, I said working, you're partnering with someone who's a creator, like, they're very, I find, like I was saying about, like, the messy, the disorganized, like, that is what you get with, like, an artsy, creative person, I find more often than not, so, and I want him to succeed because I know he's capable of doing so many great things, and I see him doing so many great things, but I think it just means that there's a lot of, like, reminders that I can do, a lot of, like, organizational things that I can do to support him, and he does the same for me, and I think that's the main thing, like, but our lives do revolve a lot around magic. That's
Magic,
like,
right.
I mean, every day it's something to do with magic, and sometimes I have to take a time out and I just have to say, today's not a magic day. So.
Yeah.
Today's not a magic.
Yeah, and then I'll hear a conversation or I'll hear a phone call and it's something to do with magic, and I'll just be like, just the eye.
Today's Monday. No Magic Monday. Remember that? Magicless Monday.
Yeah, so, and then I go back into my apartment that's filled with magic.
Of the magic book. That's awesome, and it's good that you sort of see. I mean, something interesting that we're about to get across is that, Karleena, you're an actress, which means that you're also an artist. So there's I mean, we listened to a comedian joke about it at Caroline's the other day, about like, artists shouldn't date other artists, kind of a joke where it's like,
to eat.
yeah, exactly. Like, there needs to be the creative and then the supportive type, or not. There needs to be, but it is often the case. So this is an example where you're very organized. You work with charities. You do a lot of work that requires a lot of like detailed, organized work, you know, and that's something that an artist doesn't have. Whereas, I mean, I assume that you are less
put together.
No, that wasn't what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, I mean, you don't do things that are solely based on sort of detailed, organized ship, you know, like things like that. More based on, you know, creativity and things like that. So that's basically what I'm interested in. Is first of all, I mean, what's it like?
Mark is incredibly like obnoxious. That's all. He until now he recently has a manager, which is wonderful. But even like the handling of clients and emails and like invoices and replying to people who he's inquired about or like reached out to, like all of that he did himself until he had his manager, which is great, working out very well for him. My job, I find, if any at all, is Matilda is basically like, don't forget your laptop on the plane.
But she did.
But that wasn't my job until he forgot his laptop on the plane, and then I added it to the list of things I have to do. So today, when he flew to New York, I texted him while he was on the plane, laptop, 3 separate messages that would come in 3 separate times. And then he's like, thank you, baby. But...
So it seems like, for lack of a better explanation, you're doing more of a significant other thing while you are acting more like a full-time manager.
Well, to be honest, I would say that, like, even with, like,
But Mark is a go-getter of a human, and Ben
Ben is also a go-getter, but
Ben's
totally
a go-getter,
way.
but he's just a fucking space cadet. And I say that with love because he's me. Like, I'm the same way where I'm like, this would be great. I'm super passionate, but I'm also lost in a candy store.
Also,
and
like,
I don't know what
Mark
I'm
is also,
at.
like, very well put together and organized. Like,
he helps me. He'll be like, I'm the person who's like, Mark, it's 1, get out of bed.
Yeah.
And then like by midday, I'm like, my life is in shambles. And he's like, baby, let's sit down. Like, everything's fine. And this is what's gonna happen. And so there's like such an extreme balance.
So you're the artist and he's managing, actually. There's always an artist and a manager, and
I'm the hot mess. And not him. He manages me. He's like, we are deleting your Instagram and starting over. You know? So actually, he has taught me a lot in that department. Really, I would say the only thing that I do for him, only because he has told me this, not because I see it, is like going to New York before Caroline's, you know, or that whole process. Checklist, do you have this, blah, blah, blah. I know that he's been doing that for as long as he's been alive. Like, checking his list since he was like 6, doing magic. Like, do you have this, do you have that? Like, he obviously doesn't need me to do that. But to have that extra, that second person there, I know that relieves a bit of stress or whatever. And also just...
Yes, exactly.
Any sort of, I guess, like emotional support or that kind of camaraderie or whatever, which he has told me has helped him tremendously.
For sure,
and I trust
can
that.
imagine.
But I wouldn't say managerial. I would not say that I do. I'm the opposite of Natasha, where I'm probably like, I'm just having a bad day, and he's like, me too.
Oh, I do that a lot. I do that all the time as well. It's like very like.
Right, we're like, who's having a worse day?
Yeah.
Let's make a tally chart, and then
Whoever's having the worst day, the other one has to help.
we'll take turns crying.
And Haley, the same question goes to you, which is, what sort of role do you have in Scott's success as a performer?
Well, I don't have the excuse of being an artist, but I do think that I relate to. I do think that I relate to Karleena.
Well, also like it's another thing to mention is it's not just being an artist. You know, like some people are more
Naturally
well organized and put together, and some people are less organized and put together. So it's not just.
Yeah. So I decided that it would be a really good idea to do nursing school straight without taking any breaks. So 22 months in, I'm like quite burnt out. And Scott.
Oh, you mean like no summer breaks?
Yeah, no
nothing.
breaks.
Like just
Yeah,
I didn't
straight
go.
nerds.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
So.
That's crazy.
All right. I'm stressed out thinking about your
Yeah.
life. Holy shit.
Yeah. So, 12-hour shifts and assignments and all that. Scott, I think, definitely takes on the managerial role for me sometimes. But, I have gotten a little bit more involved with his business. He's been doing it for about 20 years, and so he definitely can handle all of it on his own.
For sure.
He has for, a huge portion of his life. But some things like filing taxes, I really like monotonous tasks like that, so I've started helping him do them. And, cold calling and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think that any of his success has anything to do with me. I think a lot of my success has a lot to do with him. But I think that there's just certain aspects of his business or the creative part that I just really enjoy being involved in, and so.
And I think I actually like that you mentioned cold calling, because it's a fun example where it's like, it's one of those things where it's really easy. It's really easy to cold call. It just takes time, right? But it's one of those things that like a magician won't think of. Are you laughing? I'm just slowly feeding the dog.
I'm just sitting here like,
He's not-
if this was my dog, I would have slapped you an hour ago.
Why?
Because don't fucking feed my dog without asking first.
No,
But like, she's being cool about
I'm
it.
just laughing because she's making your carpet wet.
Oh, that's fine as long as,
With her
she's not like.
but
The fact that
like,
Karleena's
you're
not
like,
upset.
you've
means
got
I'm
it
I have a
cool.
dog. Like I know what to do. Like,
you've got it under control over there. That's why I'm laughing. You're like, I got this. I'm just gonna make her work for it for 10 seconds.
Exactly.
It'll buy me 10 seconds. Yeah.
I think
Sorry.
cold calling is okay. I think cold calling is a really fun example because it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, extra hours in the day going to cold calling would always be good. It's always good, right? And it's like, cold calling is one of those things where it's easy, but I mean, it's fun to
Fucking
talk to strangers.
awful. What do you mean?
I mean, I love
Fun.
it. I really enjoy it. But of course, like there's the pain of like any telemarketing, which is that you get, or any asking for things, which is you get 9
If
no's
you do cold
before
calling
you get
enough, you just get that thick skin, and you're like, whatever.
and you also get really good. Exactly.
Actually,
Exactly.
and you get that one, and you're like, yeah.
And the reason I brought it up is it's one of those things where it's like,
I don't know that that's true for everybody. I worked in a call center for a year.
Well, if you don't believe in what you're
fucking
selling,
terrible.
it's different. If you're
That's
like,
for
I'm
sure.
selling myself because I'm
For
good
sure.
at entertaining,
Yeah.
I'm funny, I'm
Oh yeah,
providing
doing
a
it for somebody or
No.
yourself probably is
I'm not,
better,
like-
but, like fucking bank surveys, kill me.
Yeah. But
collecting.
it's just one of those things where it's just
From
nice
it.
because like as a magician, that's one of those things that falls through the cracks. Like when you finally have time off, like the last thing you're gonna do is cold call. But when there's someone who's like, oh, I really enjoy talking. I'll talk to 20 new customers a week. Like that's nice. I literally offer them a service, which is the service that my boyfriend does, which I love to talk about because I know that they're good at it. I'm selling a product that I know is quality.
And it's also a lot easier. I mean, I would have a really hard time picking up the phone or sending out an email being like, I'm so great.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
let me just list all of the reasons that you need to hire me because I'm so great. But I can do that about Scott. I think he
Yeah.
is great. So, and
Exactly.
I'm talking about somebody else who I love and who I believe in.
Mhm.
And so I think, it might be appreciated by clients as well, where it's not somebody just.
1,000,000%.
So,
Yeah, that was a point that Eugene Berger made at the bash was
Straight
if
up.
you don't have someone to do cold calling for you, throw your voice. Like pretend
Like
to be
he's-
someone else and
for
be like,
sure.
I am so and so's
And
manager.
it's funny that Ben said to me, Ben was like I think Natasha can do my phone answering for me, my emails for me possibly.
This is
And I
the
said to
way-
him-
This is Ben's clearly asked Jonah to mention this to me.
No. But he comes up with ideas and he makes sure that I think they're good ideas. So I said to him, I was like, if someone else is answering your phone and sending emails for you, automatically you double your rates.
Yeah,
I said, like-
just start paying that person also.
Absolutely, but I just said think about it. Automatically you double your rates. Automatically you don't answer the phone. You're not that level of person. And it's funny, magicians out there might be easier to get a girlfriend than it is to get a manager. And then
Wow,
you can
really?
double. You know what? I take that back.
Yeah.
It's
Take that
probably
back.
harder.
It's if you can't get a manager, you probably can't get a girlfriend either. I can't get either.
Mark actually said to me, "I will not have you do that. I will not have you
Interesting.
be my mom."
He wants you to be his girlfriend, right? He wants you to be his partner. He doesn't want you to be his manager.
And he
Yeah,
said, "I don't want to
Piece
bring
of
you."
shit.
Yeah, he was like, "I don't want to bring you into that mess."
No, but that's interesting.
He was like, "I will not have you do that, and I will not have you." My mom, like I was saying, she's adorable. She's like, "You know what I was thinking? It would be so fun if you two could just get on stage together. And you know how a magician always has a I'm like, Mom!
And you're like, an assistant? Oh, I didn't think of that. That's so clever.
Yeah, Mom. Oh my God, that's gonna be so great. Like, that's not at all what Mark does. Like, but anyway.
But it's also funny to just be like just like, but really like, hold on a second. You're dating a magician.
Mm-hmm. She's like putting
and
it together.
Magicians have assistants. Call me crazy, but I have an idea.
My mom has basically just built my future for me in that phone call. No, she and then I told Mark, and it was so funny because he's always been like, I don't want you to do that. A lot of girlfriends do naturally end up getting into that, and I will not have you do that. So, and it was never something that I was ever opposed to. Like, sometimes I'd be like, oh, like, I'll answer that call. Like, I'll answer calls. Like, let me start doing that for you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you're so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And you're so overwhelmed with how busy you are. And then that's when I said to him, like, let's have a conversation. I'll start doing this for you. And then he, hired somebody else, I think probably because he thought I would be terrible at the job.
But there's also something to the fact that, I mean, it's funny to bring it up in this conversation, even though it's sort of more of a conversation about magic and managers and whatever, but we put on all of the hats as magicians, and, we forget that there's people who, dare I say it, love answering emails. But straight up, there's people who get hired for companies because that's what they love doing, managing time slots and answering emails.
Yeah, and personal assistants.
Right, but we forget that people actually are fulfilled by doing that kind of work in their life.
I think that's the thing as well. Magic as a kind of job, as an industry, is very mentally stimulating.
It's everything.
But it's just you're constantly thinking, and I know from being with Ben, sometimes I can see him thinking, and I know he's thinking about how to do a certain trick or how to do something, and it's you never get that chance to switch off, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like a car. If you leave the battery running, eventually it's going to burn out. And it's the same I find with magicians. You need someone or something to support you so that you can alleviate some of that pressure. Mm-hmm. So I think if a manager is what works, then I think that's definitely the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really funny to see almost all three different versions of it, which is, I mean, the polar end, which is Mark saying, maybe it's best that I figure out how to make sure that this is a full system that I can handle on my own,
mm-hmm.
Which is valuable in one right, but in another right, it's you have someone here who's willing to help you, and they could. I mean, so it's good to see that side of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
The middle ground, which is you saying there's parts that I can do and I do. I mean, he can totally get along without me, but there's parts that, I mean, I like to have my hand in, and then the whole other end of it, which is, I mean, sort of seeing however much you can put.
I don't do, yeah, that's the thing.
I know that, look, it sounds like Ben's this half person who needs you. It's not at all the case. It's not at all the case.
So
and of
much,
course, he was a thriving magician before he met you.
This is the thing as
and
well. I actually enjoy it. That's the main part. If I didn't enjoy being with a magician or doing the thing helping out with the shows and selling tickets and those sorts of things, I fully wouldn't do it. But it's something that actually excites me, and it's something that's very different from my everyday job. So, whenever we talk about magic or there's an opportunity for me to help, it's something that I want to do. So and it's also benefits.
There's also something funny about, as much as we were joking about it earlier, about a magician being like, ha ha ha, magic pays the bills, ha ha ha. Sort of being like, ha ha ha, yeah, his magic pays a lot of the bill. You know what I mean? And it's funny to have a role in that and say what do you do? And I mean, I do this and this, and I also help a magician book their gigs. That plays a huge part of my life, both the hours of my life and like sort of.
There's an aspect to like if all three of us work other jobs
for sure. The opposite of Housewives in every way, shape, or
like
form.
I've also been in an industry for 10 years where I worked all day and to have someone in my life who's like, I don't know what that's like. And now he's like, I'm gonna go do walk around for 2 hours and make what you make in a week. Exactly. You're like, there's a part of me that's like wants to peel my skin off, and then a part of me that's like, that's fucking amazing that you have. He's put his 10,000 hours in, and he has become as good as he is.
For sure.
And I appreciate all of that because it's amazing. And then it makes me reflect differently on my efforts put forward in like other aspects of my life and stuff, because I'm like, no, seriously, he pays the bills and then some with magic.
For sure.
It's like the epitome of work smarter, not harder, where I'm
100%.
like,
Pay
where you
thousands or
bust
hundreds
your
or whatever,
ass. Right. And then
for
I'm
an
like,
hour.
wait, this whole crew of people, Ben, Scott, Mark, like you guys, like everybody.
There's someone legit at the door.
And-
Is that Ben?
Alright.
Do we summon him?
I'm gonna put it on it. Hold on.
Stop.
Come here. Where's your collar?
So her easy walk was there.
Were we right? Is it Ben?
Hang on.
There's a podcast going on.
Definitely Ben.
No.
Sit in my room.
What's up, that? Everything is fine. Shh.
Talking about
Who is it? Who is it going to be?
Well, how are we going to talk about him if he's here?
Who is it? Who is it going to be? Who is it?
How are we going to talk about you if you're here?
What is this?
That's Matilda.
What is this?
I don't like dogs.
So.
But yeah, then it like makes me reflect on efforts put forth in my own life, where I'm like, you do what you love for a eighth of the hours that I put in and get paid more than I do. Not that money is a thing, whatever. But
It totally is, but like people say that, so whatever, fine.
yeah, people
We'll
say that.
breathe.
Mark tells me it doesn't
breeze on
matter.
past
Success is not measured in dollars.
But I mean, there's.
But like, it's amazing.
But there's also super value to the fact that you're living alongside somebody who is putting a passion so far forward that it's actually funding what's going on, and I think that could very well be a source of motivation to know that what you choose to do. You guys both looked at each other, so I'd love to know what that look just meant.
It was I can't believe Ben's just.
That was Ben. Ben, get off the dog and
You
get
can
out
take
of
her
the
off.
room.
You can take her collar off because it makes
Take the
noise.
dog into Mark's room, and you and Mark and the
Yeah.
dog. Is that Mark's in New
You
York?
and
But
Mark.
you and the dog and Mark can hang out until.
Because her collar makes noise. Oh yeah, thank you.
I got it.
We're just wrapping up.
Yeah,
I want
Yeah,
you to
get the
leave.
fuck out of here.
We're talking.
we were talking about sexual habits.
Legitimately
of
just
men.
Sexual-
yeah, so
magician.
rate your boyfriends on penis size. Sorry.
100. What?
Actually, can you just rearrange yourself?
Yeah,
in
rating
order?
from 100 to 0. 100 the lowest, 0 the highest. Sorry, what were you saying?
Penises.
100 you said?
Yeah.
No. So
Magic.
what I was saying before is
Oh, we're not
This
actually
fucking-
answering the
we're not
question.
doing that. No.
He seduced me with his
I'm
devil
sure that-
penis.
It's
and
not
card
a
tricks.
demon's penis.
Ben's like, what?
It's
I'm
got
sure
2
there's-
heads.
I'm sure there's something.
It's pointed.
That's two.
Magicians' penises have 2 heads. No.
He told me that.
We're like sharks.
Yeah.
Real fact.
Yeah.
Sharks have dual-ended penises. Anyway,
Ew.
depending on the angle,
Leave. You're not welcome. It's a ladies' night.
you can have. That's Natasha's. You can have this one.
So, Jonah, how do you want to
That
wrap
one
it up?
Jonah
What's
bought.
How do I want to wrap it up? Well, I figure we'll
No,
wrap
that's
it
not
up
the
the way that we usually do with our song that we all sing. That I'm sure you guys were prepared for.
Yeah,
brought
you
those
listen to
in.
the episodes, right? You know the song?
Yep.
The song that we
Also
sing.
goes like this.
So that's right. That's right. Do it.
No.
Magic.
She's adding a verse.
This is a new part of the song, but I like it.
Sounds like a cauldron.
No, I'm kidding. That's not how we end the episodes. What we do, which I think this will be the first time that it's non-magic related, but you have the floor, assuming millions of ears listening.
It's actually not how
This
we
is a
wrap
lot
up,
of
but
pressure.
Oh, there's two.
yeah.
We do that.
But I guess there's no value in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, like, usually what we do is we wrap up. We
Sorry,
mention-
no. He'll explain why that.
So
statement-
usually we wrap
Sorry,
up in
that
the
statement made
episode,
sense.
and we bring one piece of value that
Can
magicians
you
can
believe
take
a
home
vegan
with them.
said
However, I don't think this is one of those episodes where there's like a take-home moment for magicians.
So you don't.
But there's a
that?
no. Yes, there fucking is.
Wait a minute.
Yes, there is.
You know what? Fuck it, let's do it.
There's
Let's
so
do
many
it.
Magicians.
What's the
girlfriends
take
made
home?
great managers.
What's the
There's
take-home
so many
moment?
things we talked
So
about.
for all the let's do it. For all the magicians out there in the world, what's the take-home moment for this episode? You need to go, what valuable piece of information from this episode, whether you said it or someone else at the table said it. It could be Tyler and I, but it likely was not. What piece of information could a magician or somebody listening at home who's likely a magician take? We'll just wait till the water stops running. What could somebody at home, whether they're a magician or not, likely they are a magician, take from this episode? And then we'll get the other way that we wrap up.
You
So we'll
usually
start.
go first. So
You know what?
it's
Fuck
usually
it.
you,
I'll
me,
go
and
first.
then them.
Okay.
Let's fucking stick to
We'll
this
do it
shit.
the regular way. So for me, I think the valuable part of this episode is
Wait, she's.
No, just let it happen. They know.
Okay.
They know she's here now.
so for me the valuable part, or one valuable part of the episode, is just realizing that there's different ways to have a
She's just going off.
a sort of given opportunity to
She
finish.
just ate a bowl and a half of popcorn. Like, she's so thirsty.
Anyway, the take-home point for me is that there are three almost very different ways that a significant other could act in a magic relationship. And I mean, this is a perfect example to just show that obviously every relationship is different. And I mean, hopefully you're not banking on a relationship to be the person who does all your managing and stuff like that. But it also might be nice to realize that, you know, magic is so fulfilling both financially and, life-wise, that... Shut up, Ben.
You're not supposed to be here, Ben.
Anyways, magic is so fulfilling in both ways that there is room for someone to be a part of it, no matter which way they want. So, to me, I think that's really interesting, that it could be any way. I didn't really think of pulling out value from magicians at home, but if it is, a girlfriend can also be a manager. That's a really huge one that might be of value to you. Haley is valuable.
Whoa, hang on. Me, then
Oh my goodness, okay,
Me,
Connor,
then
what about you?
Because they're going to say all my points. It always happens to me. Literally every episode, he just summarizes the whole fucking thing, and then he's like, Tyler, what about you? And I'm like, well, fuck. Anyway, yeah, here's my chance. I
What's
lost
it like being a vegan magician?
Terrible. No, it's fine. It doesn't, they don't fucking mingle. She knows. Well, no. She knows what it's like to date
I've
a vegan
observed.
magician.
Oh yeah, he's a vegan
Yeah,
magician too. That was like a sarcastic comment, but I ended up being.
Real, yeah. Shout out to Scott Hammell for being vegan. You said girlfriends can be managers. I think I'm gonna change that. To
Managers can be girlfriends.
Partners
Date your
can
managers.
be. You can date whoever you want. It's
Thank
2017.
you, sorry.
Or anyway, find someone who appreciates your passion. I think was a good point that was made. Like there's like you said, this is the best thing that was said in the whole episode, and it will be my fucking text tone, is that women who don't like magic are fucking bitches. And it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to know that people exist out there that legitimately can appreciate it as a passion and not just be like, oh, you tricked me again. You know what I mean? So,
It's because I met the coolest human that I've ever known, and he happens to be a magician, and I just think that's none of it has any merit on who you are as a human, and people who like judge each other based on what they do, like they're not worth your time. I don't know. I'm just not here for a fucking relationship.
Cheers to
like,
that, yeah,
Sex
to
with
that.
you or whatever.
Good.
But like,
I'll just
It's
give you the
just-
floor at this moment. What piece from the
There.
episode do you want to sort of reiterate? I mean, it's been an hour, so magicians at home have heard a lot from all of us. So on the note of what you just mentioned, what piece from the episode do you think magicians at home should take home that is of particular value?
I don't think I have anything valuable. So a magician, for Christ's sake.
But I mean, what you just said is incredibly valuable, sort of what Tyler reflected on. Of like, finding somebody who loves you loving what you do, right?
Right. Like, if you love knitting, I'd be like, that's fucking cool. Whatever. I've always wanted my name in a sweater. Can you do that? I fucking love magic. And then I get to hang out with, like, these cool people who, like, love to be creative and love to make people laugh. There's nothing better in the universe. And I don't know, I don't think we're giving dating advice, but I can't give magic advice.
You can give dating advice, I don't care. They need it.
Yeah,
I need it. Remember, we brought the three of you here because we don't have our own girlfriends that interview. So we're interviewing other people's girlfriends. So dating advice is warranted both for us and for people.
I fucking love going to Tannins in New York.
Magic shop, yeah?
It was fucking fun. It was really fun.
It's good. Take your girl to a magic shop or a magic show.
We went to Tannins. And I love going to Bowser's and stuff. Like
Browser.
Bowser is a Mario, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And our friend, but anyway.
Still Bowser.
I love both of them.
And the
Browser's is a
Browser's
store. Tannins is a store. Bowser is a nemesis.
And a friend.
And also
and
a friend to the magicians.
I am learning so much. Edit that part out. Then, like, people who don't like magic, fucking bitches.
I'm with you. Haley, anything valuable for the people at home, whether they be magicians or, I mean, they are magicians, magic or girlfriend advice?
Well, I was gonna say, this is why Tyler wanted to go first, but I was gonna say, I don't like to see anyone get hung up on the idea of, like, oh, I can't date because I'm a magician and girls don't think that that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, any woman who, puts someone, or man, who puts someone into a box and is like, oh, well, because I know one magician, or I've seen a magician on TV and they exhibited these traits, all magicians must do that. Like, Jonah, you're different from Tyler, who's different from Ben, who's different from Scott. Like, everyone is just, I just think that there are so many beautiful characteristics and relationship traits that come from somebody being, the creative type. And I think you have to have a certain level of sensitivity to be on stage and interact with people in that way. So, they're bitches. I think that they're not.
This is a why Jonah and Tyler don't have dates. This is what it is. Fuck all girls, okay? They're bitches. They're bitches. You don't need them. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And I think that's really valuable. And I also, I think the same way that you shouldn't be like, you're a lawyer. Fuck all lawyers. Lawyers are out there to scam people. Like, any sort of stereotype that relies on a job. I think it's the same idea. So
if it's about your gender or race, totally valid. But if it's employment based, fuck that shit.
I think that had I not met Mark and then totally embraced, like, I loved embracing every single part of that, and then I met Scott and met Ben and I met you guys, and like that has opened my world in a way that I never ever imagined. Yeah. I've learned so much. It's expanded my mind in ways that I'm so excited about, and I feel like if there's any apprehension about, like, women or men or whoever you choose to love or who are, you're into.
Human people,
gender
or pillow
fluid,
people,
whatever.
if that's your thing, or, like, furniture, or, like, whatever you're into.
I'm not gonna, like, encourage...
There's things that are on a list that are, like, no.
Illegal.
But, like, if it doesn't hurt anyone but you, go ahead.
There's a lot that I would have been missing out on had I not been involved in the magic community.
Natasha, after everyone springed out this episode for everything that's possibly
She's gonna have
worth.
something way better than all of us.
And she's gonna say it in a beautiful accent.
It's gonna be eloquent and fucking perfect. You're gonna edit out both of our answers.
Got
and
fucking
just
nuts
leave it.
there. I think the main thing for me that I think to take away from this is that whether you're dating someone or whether it's just about your life and your work and you're a magician, I think the main thing to remember is sometimes just take a step back and don't lose that magic that we all see in you, because I think that's so important. You can get so lost in your own headspace.
Man, just fucking kill me. Kill me, goddammit, that was so good.
The magic in your life. Fuck, what did we say? How do we miss the magic in your life?
You get it.
That was such an obvious one.
Wait, she's not finished!
We went with they're all bitches.
Anyway, so my point is, it's so mentally stimulating. It can take so much, like, mentally away from you that sometimes I think it's really important to just take that step back and think about it and remember and try and remind yourself why you first fell in love with magic. Because
And it was not to get girls.
it was definitely not to get girls. That may have been just collateral.
One last question. Talking about magic and girls and did you or did you not see a trick on the first date, and what was it?
Oh, great. How did we
I
skip
think
that?
I first,
Really?
no, I didn't.
None on the first
High
date?
five, Ben.
Karleena?
No.
No.
High five,
No.
Mark.
No.
High five,
We've learned
We
something
know.
today. It is a no-go. If you want to date and you want it to stay, there's no magic to be done. Ladies, thank you so much for being on
Thank you.
episode
Thank
62
you.
of This Was
Thank you.
Magic. It was a real pleasure.
Matilda.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Matilda,
Matilda.
the dog of
Make
magic.
all the noise.
And of course, everyone at home, thank you guys for being a part of this very, very fun, strange episode. And
Oh, we'll be back.
Yeah, we will.
they're going to be back for a sequel, so make sure you have questions for them. Thanks so much for tuning into episode 62, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Give a wave.
Give him a wave.
Awesome.
Give him a wave now.